VidCon, y'all!
So recently I woke up at 3 AM to drive to the airport, which is 2 hours away. I usually don't mind traveling alone. There's a kind of exquisite loneliness to the interstate and the sky in the nighttime. But this trip was different. This was my first VidCon. And I kept thinking about how excited I was, but also how frightened, which I didn't quite understand. I made it to Anaheim. It was the night before the convention, so I left my surprisingly nice hotel room and nervously went out. I saw Disneyland fireworks and go-karts, and I met Elmify, who is taller than me. That night was a beautiful blur of meeting and hugging internet friends and heroes, which was a trend that continued into the next day, which was Industry Day.
Our next speaker, I would say lots of nice things about him, but I'm not going to because he's my brother, and that's just not how it works.
Hi, thank you for that lovely introduction. My name's John Green.
Every time I met someone new, the same astonished thought came into my head. You're real? You exist three-dimensionally? I wondered if that feeling ever goes away. Or even if I wanted it to, frankly.
It's time for VidCon 2013.
The main part of VidCon started the next morning, and it was, in the literal sense, spectacular.
I'm gonna pop some tag. Got $20 in my pocket. Looking for a come up. This is one more time, a little bit louder. I'm gonna pop some tags. Got $20 in my pocket. Looking for a come up. This is freaking awesome.
1, 2, 3.
It's the scene I always imagined when I thought of VidCon. I was so determined to do everything that I spent the day dashing around by myself. I saw a giant shark, I got to give Wheezy Waiter a copy of my book, and I met some readers, and I learned a lot. For instance, building an online community is only possible through making content you really love, and also, Rhett and Link are 11 feet tall. But despite the 12,000 people around me, I have to admit that I felt oddly more alone that day than I had since I arrived. John Green recently said that the hardest thing about being at a convention is that you'll be standing in line, and the sheer number of people makes your connection to the creators feel common. I don't know why we feel like common things are less precious. I just know that I kind of did. I woke up the last day of VidCon to a text message saying that my brother's unit in Afghanistan had just hit an IED. We later found out that he was fine, but when I heard that news, honestly, I just sort of wanted to fold into myself. But I didn't. Because Elmify texted me, and she asked if I wanted to go to the main stage show together.
Well, I'm getting kinda tired of this. Publication media blitz, you got all of Muggle kind under your spell.
And although I still wasn't entirely myself that day, I was better. The connections made me better.
Could you sell? Now give me my book or go to hell, 'cause I need Harry Potter.
Because of YouTube, for the first time in my adult life, I've been able to make many new friends. And I think I was so frightened of going to VidCon because I feared that when I was in that huge crowd, I'd discover that the connections I'd felt were not real.
We get to define how we're going to connect to people, how we're going to work together. And that's why VidCon has been so important to me.
Hello, industry people. Hello, Zay. Thanks for saying hello back.
So, although I was sad to leave, I was also grateful. Grateful because VidCon allowed me to say hello back to these people who have changed my life. And grateful because VidCon made me realize that the connections online video gives us are not less precious for being common. They are miraculous, precisely because they are not rare.
Books and bars, it'll be like Phoenix ears on a broken nose. Yeah.
None of you get this.